Welcome to the Fireside Chat for Fitness and Nutrition with Adrienne and Ken. Today we're going to be talking about improving our cardiovascular health. And we will start with fitness, because that's a really key component here. Ken, would you like to start us off?
Yes, I would, Adrienne. Thank you. So let's start with the definition of what cardio is first, because cardiovascular or aerobic fitness is defined as with air, and it has to be basically, it should be at least 20 minutes long.
Okay.
Has to be consistent, so you can't stop and then start and then stop and start to a certain degree. And it has to involve, for the most part, muscles of the lower body, the buttocks and thighs. So because that increases the heart rate the most effectively, because they are so large, they use a lot of energy. So those three things. So consistent. It has to be nonstop, and has to involve the muscles of the lower body, the buttocks and the quadriceps. So what are some good?
Sorry.
At least 20 minutes. Yeah, long. At least 20 minutes. So what are some good examples of cardiovascular exercise, and how long should you do it, and so forth? And well, we already said how long you're supposed to. Yeah. So good. So a good. I have 7 ways that you can do cardio, and we're just in no particular order, not my favorite or so, but jogging. Jogging is walking or fast walking, power walking. Jogging doesn't require a lot of monetary outlay, and you can do it anywhere. Basically, you can even do it in the snow. You can do it in the rain. You can do it anywhere. And you want to be able to, when you do aerobic exercise, for the most part, you want to do between 60 and 80% of your maximum heart rate. So if you were to imagine that, let's say, for instance, you were sprinting 100 yards, you're going all out. That's a 10. That's a 10. What you want to be is, so that on a scale of exhaustion, that's a 10. So what you want to be is between 6 and 8 on a perceived level of exertion. So it's going to be totally individual, so totally subjective. So, jogging 5 miles an hour for one person may be easy, where for someone else it may be, this is higher than level 8, or it could be lower than level 8. So just on your own perceived exertions, between 6 and 8. So jogging is number one. Number 2 is cycling. Just get out there on that bicycle and cycle along. 9 weight bearing. So if you have joint issues, it's good for you. It's good for that, and it's good for the knees. Strengthens those knee joints, but it's a good option for cycling. Another one, which is at the opposite end of that, is jump rope. Jump rope is very intense, and if you've ever jumped rope, or if you haven't ever tried jump rope, you want to start off real easy. Don't go a long time. Start off with maybe 1 or 2 minutes, and then add 1 or 2 minutes each week. So it's very, very intense, because it involves the upper body and the lower body. So your calves, a little bit of your thighs, a lot of arm motion. So jump rope. HIIT, which stands for high intensity interval training, is another way to do cardiovascular fitness, and that involves like burpees or mountain climbers or well, those are good. Those are just a good jumping jacks. Jumping jacks. Trying to think of the third one. Jumping jacks is another HIIT exercise. And HIIT, basically, you do an intense exercise, and then this is the one time where it's not necessarily consistent, but your heart rate, say for instance, this is your resting heart rate, this is your 6 to 10 or 6 to 8 out of 10. So HIIT would be up like this, then would come down to here. So it would never really go below level 6. So it'd go up to 10, then back down to 6, up to 10, back down to 6, up to. So it'd be jump rope for a minute, then walk around for a minute, or jump rope for 30 seconds, then walk around for a minute, or do jumping jacks for a minute, and then walk around for a minute and a half or so, something like that. So it's high intensity, followed by a recovery period, whether it be active recovery or passive recovery, where you're just standing, where you're not doing anything else. If you have access to a pool, swimming is a really good aerobic activity. And I have to tell you a story. I was a walker / jogger in college, and I thought, well, I'm going to go swimming. This is going to be fun. I haven't swam for a long time, and I'd never really swam in an Olympic-sized pool. And I thought, it's not going to be that hard. So I get in the pool, and I swim one length, not even one lap, but I was going, it was killing me. The swimming is challenging. You got to take it easy when you first start. Don't go all out. Just take it easy. Much like anything that you start, make sure that it's easy. Make sure that you don't overdo it, and start off easy. And then you can always add to it. It's harder when when you go all out, and you might get discouraged because you can't do what you thought you could have done, or maybe you're too sore the next day. So I don't want to do this. But if you start out real easy and add to it, it's easier on the body, then it's easier on the mind as well, because it's easier on the body. Boxing is another way that it's good cardiovascular fitness. And boxing doesn't really require a lot of lower body, but your arms are above your heart. Anytime your arms, which are above your heart, they are above your heart, that increases your heart rate. So boxing, incredibly challenging to do. If you've never done it, you might want to give that a try too. And then of course, there's also aerobic classes. You can go to aerobic classes. There's probably, if you go to a gym, or I'm sure you can find aerobic classes somewhere, maybe some community center or something like that. That would help with get some sort of cardio class. And that's also good because you have some accountability as well. So if you're the type of person that needs some extra motivation from other people, a cardiovascular class or a cardio class aerobic class would be good. So what do you think about that?
Oh, lots of thoughts. So it sounds like because jumping on a trampoline doesn't include the upper body, it's not as effective, but it's still hard.
But it's easier on the joints. It's easier on the joints for sure. Yeah. Well, if you were to move your arms, like say doing jumping jacks with your arms, not necessarily doing jumping jacks on the trampoline. Are you talking about those little bitty trampolines?
Yeah.
Really tiny? Yeah. You want to go like this. You might jump. You might fall off of it. But if you were to just do your arms and do jumping jacks and jump on the trampoline, that would be a combination of good cardiovascular, because your arms are above your heart, and easy on the joints, because it's not on the hard surface on the ground. So if you have joint problems, might be a solution. So I like that.
Okay, I have a jump rope in the workout area too, so maybe I'll just do both or something. I'll tell you brought up boxing. I loved boxing, and it's a great workout. And usually you're so into it. And I would say the same thing with martial arts, like Krav Maga was really, really good. Plus you're learning different skills that hopefully you don't need, but if you need them. Swimming, it's funny. I also did college swimming, not like, professionally or anything like that. It was just a class. But I also remember our teacher talking about maximum heart rate, which was like, I think the equation was like 220 minus your age, and then you would do 60 to 80% of your maximum heart rate. So we would use, so with kind of like thinking about the 6 to 8 that you talked about on the perceived exertion scale, would that be kind of the just equivalent, I suppose?
That's exactly correct. Yeah. That would be a thing, a portion that you can actually look at. Yes. So you take your age, you take 220 minus your age, that's your maximum heart rate. That's basically, the top level that your heart will go. And it's just because the body's aging. So it's, when we're in our 50s and 60s or 40s and 50s, we're not as fit, or not as, we're just not as fit as we are in our teens and 20s. It's just how it is. So they've created that chart, and that's your maximum. Then you take 60 to 80% of it. There's some other formulas too that you could really get into: resting heart rate reserve, and so forth. But as a general rule, it's 60 to 80% of that. So if you're 40, 180 would be your maximum heart rate. And a good way to take your heart rate, if you don't have a smartwatch, you could take your pulse. Don't take it with your thumb, but take it with your finger, because your thumb has a pulse of its own. Take your finger and count. I usually count it for 10 seconds and then multiply it by 6. Or take your pulse rate for 6 seconds and multiply it by 10. Now that's not quite as accurate, because the longer that you take it, the more accurate it will be. So the longer you can take. So if you take it for 15 seconds and multiply it by 4, but sometimes that's kind of hard to do. So you can kind of experiment and see what's right for you. But that's one way to figure out what your heart rate is, and where you're doing something. If you're in your target heart rate, target zone. So
I bet a lot of our audience probably has the wearables, so that makes it easy for all of you guys.
Makes it easy.
I also just loved how you mentioned how swimming is so hard, but if it's fun for you, and as it was for me, it was like super rewarding to be able to go and do a whole length of butterfly. Of course, I couldn't do that like twice, but you do a backstroke back and just kind of like,
Sure.
it was HIIT training within the resistance training, even of being in the water. And it's just really fun. But I know pools are not always available to us. So I like that you also mentioned all these different ideas from boxing and walking, cycling, all of that. Plus the jump rope, which makes me want to do that. Okay,
Yeah.
so nutrition wise, of course, I mean, like we have the fitness piece taken care of. All you guys need to do is just pick something that you enjoy, go at it for like 20 minutes.
Pick something you enjoy. Yep.
It'll be fun. Now, what's surprising to most people is I think they don't realize, given all of like the talk and what we hear about a lot in the health world is cancer, and like everybody's so afraid of cancer. But actually, cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of American men and women. So we really need to focus on taking care of our hearts. And if you add upon this that 80% of cardiovascular disease can be reversed or prevented with education and action, there's a lot we can do. So it's not just like, oh, my grandpa died of stroke and my brother has whatever. It's like, you don't have to just rely on your genetics and assume that your fate will be the same. You have a lot that you can do. So, think about some of the factors that cause cardiovascular disease. Smoking is not great for us. But even beyond that, they say that sitting is the new smoking, which, apparently I'm smoking right now. But being in a sedentary lifestyle. So Ken already gave you the antidote for that. Now, what we need to do is follow that up with some proper nutrition. Some basic tips would be choosing foods that are lower in saturated fats, like think of meats, cheeses, things along that line, trans fat as well. So more processed food, but it is found in like meat and also cheese, and sodium, because that can raise our blood pressure too. So those are some things to be careful, stay away from, reduce. But what we also want to increase, fruits and vegetables. This is obvious, right? But it's not just the fruits and vegetables because they have nutrition like vitamins and minerals, but because they also have fiber. Now, when you have a decent amount of fiber in your diet, not only is your digestive system and everything going to be better, it's going to help bind to the extra cholesterol that's in your arteries and remove it from the body. So if we have a very low fiber diet, which most Americans do, that's not helping our hearts at all, or our whole systems. So definitely including more fiber-rich foods. Whole grains could fit into this. Also eating things that have omega-3 fatty acids. So that could be fish, ideally sustainably caught and all that kind of stuff. Or you can go with nuts, seeds. You can also have legumes. That's a great source of fiber too. And another thing we want to do is consider just less sugar. It's not usually something that we think about as like causing a heart, but yeah, it is definitely implicated in that. It makes everything sticky. So it just makes sense. We shouldn't have a whole lot of that in our blood. And of course, anybody who has diabetes pretty much probably remembers getting a talk from their doctor about how they're now going to have to be very careful with their heart. So that there's a link there, right? So definitely, regardless of whether or not we have any issues with our blood sugar, we really want to take care of our hearts by being proactive. 80%, like I said, of cardiovascular disease can be prevented. So let's do that. And it doesn't have to be hard. Also remember to sleep, because we can drink all these green smoothies, we can jump on a trampoline or do some jump rope, but if we're not getting a good amount, 8 hours, whatever it is for you, our entire system is not going to be doing so well, and we're less likely to eat well, we're less likely to work out. So definitely that's #1, I'd say.
I have a question for you. What is the number of grams, or how much fiber does a woman and a man need? Do you have an idea? I mean, can you tell us how much they need?
Generally about 25 grams is what is generally recommended. However, provided you have enough water and everything in your system, so you're not going to cause a plumbing problem, I would go higher than that, probably like 30 to 50 grams.
30 to 50. So you can't go up to, okay, very good.
You can. Yeah. And a lot of people who are following more plant-based diets are generally getting that in, if they're doing it right and they're not just eating like the fake meats or the fake cheese, like if they're doing it properly, they're getting more of this. So just more plants will help us out. But yeah, the fiber is a key part.
Very good. Very good. Excellent.
Do you have anything you want to add to keep our hearts healthy?
Consistent. Just do it. If you can do aerobic activity 5 to 6 days a week, you'll see a lot of benefit, and you'll feel better. You'll Adrienne mentioned sleeping. You'll sleep better. You'll just feel better. So it's a good thing. So consistency is a good thing.
And I would say find what works for you. Ken and I provide a lot of ideas. It can be overwhelming, but if you just pick one thing that you're like, oh, I do have a jump rope, and you do that for a minute, you're better off than had you not done anything to begin with.
Anything is better than nothing, for sure.
Exactly. And the other part that I would add in is that you can work from a place of loving yourself into your idealized version, your fitter self, your healthier self, versus hating yourself. So that's just a mindset that we could adopt during Heart Healthy Month coming up, plus also just the month of love. Love for yourself can drive a lot of these healthy behaviors versus hating yourself healthy. It doesn't work out so well, right?
I hear you.
All right. Well, if you would hit the like button, maybe share this with some people that you know. Also, we would love to hear from you in the comments, any topics of health or wellness that you would like us to touch on more. We talk about everything from mindset, fitness, nutrition, but just general health and wellness as well. So we'd be happy to help. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week. Take care, everyone.
See you.
Bye. We have a 90-day VIP program, and this is all about knee surgery prep and recovery. So we want to make sure that you have the best outcomes by having your own virtual personal trainer and your own dietitian nutritionist who's going to help coach you. So by integrating these services that we're going to offer with your doctor's care, you will have a lot of potential benefits, including customized diet and exercise plans to help you get ready for the surgery, and then afterwards the surgery, dealing with things like inflammation or limited mobility and how to get that strength back into the knee, for example, and the muscle surrounding it. We can also help create routines that focus on strengthening certain specific muscles, like I said, reducing inflammation and excess weight to help your knees not be so stressed out. And we're also going to improve flexibility and enhance your overall health. What else are we going to do, Ken?
Well, yeah, you said a lot. That's good. Injury prevention and rehabilitation, for sure. If you're getting scheduled for knee replacement, let's just say, you want to strengthen those muscles around the joint so that it's easier for you to recover. So the stronger the muscle is before you go in, the easier it is to rehabilitate that, because it's already programmed. It's already programmed in the muscle and the nerves and so forth. So it's a good thing. You want that. Your muscles want that. They desire that, and the rehabilitation will be so much easier. And with a trainer specifically, we can guide you. I can guide you through the proper form and techniques and reducing your risk of further injury as well. So, what else you got, Adrienne?
Another great benefit of this program is that we do everything virtually, so you can get your virtual health coaching and your virtual personal training, so that you can do it from home, from your couch.
Don't have to go anywhere. Don't have to go anywhere, for sure. Yeah, that leads into motivation and accountability. So we provide personal one-on-one motivation and support, and with regular check-ins, and we track your progress and set you up with goals and make sure that you're on track and making the progress that you need to make in order to go forward.
And a key part of this is that it's holistic too. So there's a difference between going to our doctors or orthopedic surgeons and getting news that we're going to get a surgery, and then just kind of like prepping in terms of having some meals made or people to kind of help out. But what you really want is to have this combined dietary part and this personal training part along with your doctor, so that you have all three on your team. And by doing this, clients can have better posture, they can lose weight, reduce inflammation and pain, have increased strength and overall well-being. So you are like hitting the ground running. So you're prepping, you get the surgery, and then you're done and you have support to just get on with the rest of your life. So right. I think it's a great program.
I do too.
And it's only $14.97 for the whole 90-day program. And it includes one-on-one support with your nutrition coach and also your personal trainer. You'll get 9 sessions total. and we are here to help you thrive.
Yes, we are.